Starts, sits, and your questions right now on FFT Express. It's Adam Azer and Heath Cummings. We're talking about 7 games. We just did very long previews. If you don't have time to listen to an hour and 20 minutes of a podcast, this is why we have FFT Express, right? So let's start with the Jets and the Cardinals. And who do you like in this game?
So the quarterbacks are very questionable, but Rodgers slightly over Murray, both of them borderline QB1s. I am starting both James Conner and Breece Hall, both Garrett Wilson and Devontae Adams. Marvin Harrison's a number 3 wide receiver for me, and Trey McBride is a top 4 tight end.
Pittsburgh at Washington.
I will start Jaden Daniels. I will start Austin Eckler if Brian Robinson Jr. is out. If Brian Robinson Jr. is back, then he's a low-end number 2. Eckler is a high-end flex. I'm starting Najee. I'm starting Pickens. I'm starting Terry McLaurin. I don't really want to start the tight ends in this game. I want to roster Russell Wilson, but I don't want to start him.
So are you buying the defenses in this game? And is it really should be one that we're just like, yeah, start everybody?
I wouldn't say, I didn't say start everybody. But
you said that. No.
I think the defenses are the kind that they're not great matchups. Like I always say, the top 5 or so percent really matter. The bottom 5 or so percent really matter. I'm not sure these defenses are either one of those things. A little bit nervous that the Steelers coming off a bye might have a plan for Jaden Daniels that makes things go really sideways.
Okay. All right. Buffalo at the Colts.
Of course, you're starting Josh Allen. I'm starting James Cook. I'm starting Jonathan Taylor. I am starting Josh Downs. You're probably still starting Dalton Kincaid, though I wouldn't blame you. I'm starting Gesicki over him. I wouldn't blame you for starting Taysom Hill over him too. I would not want to start Pittman. Khalil Shakir is a number 3.
I don't think you mentioned Josh Downs.
I'm starting him.
Okay. And which one?
Also,
you did?
Yeah.
I don't think you did.
Okay. You can go back and listen. Everybody's laughing right now at you because they heard it.
Just like when you said start everyone.
Yeah.
Would you? Well, okay. I don't think you mentioned. I really don't think you mentioned Shakir and Cooper.
I definitely said Shakir's a number 3 wide receiver, but I did not mention Amari Cooper. We don't currently have him ranked. If he plays, he's a low-end number 3 in the Michael Pittman range. He's in that range now where he's going to have to show me a good game before I start him.
Don't think you mentioned Mo Alley Cox.
I did not.
Okay. Denver and Kansas City. What do you think here?
So this one I'm not super optimistic about. Mahomes over Knicks, but they're both QB2s. Hunt over Javonte, but they're really more flexes than RB2s. Hopkins over Sutton, but they're really wide receiver 3s. Worthy is a boom bust flex, and Travis Kelce is a top 4 tight end.
So calling Kareem Hunt close to a flex might be interesting to some. What do you think for him?
I think he's my RB25. So I'd rather start Tracy. I'd rather start, of course, Najee Harris. I'd rather start David Montgomery. I'd rather start Chuba Hubbard. I'd rather start the one I really am struggling with is Chase Brown. And I think I'd rather start Brown because at least he might catch 4 passes.
Okay. Minnesota at Jacksonville. What do you think here?
So I am starting my Vikings. Jordan Addison is a low-end number 3. TJ Hawkinson is a low-end tight end 1, but you don't have to start those guys, but I wouldn't hate starting them. Brian Thomas Jr. and Evan Ingram are the only guys I would call must starts. Parker Washington is a PPR flex. I would go currently Bigsby over ETN, but neither one of them is a top 30 running back for me.
Okay. And Detroit at Houston. We have a couple more games here. Detroit at Houston.
So I've got Stroud 1 spot over Goff. They're both QB2s for me. We are currently projecting Nico Collins to come back. If Nico doesn't come back, then Stroud is not a top 20 quarterback. I would start Joe Mixon, Jahmyr Gibbs, and probably David Montgomery too. He's a low-end starter. I would start Amon-Ra St. Brown, Nico, of course, if he plays. Tank Dell's a low-end number 2 wide receiver who moves up a little bit if Nico is out. Sam Laporta is in that TJ Hawkinson, Mark Andrews range where there's really no justification to start them other than their name. but I'm still probably starting him.
And Tennessee is at the Chargers.
Lowest over-under on the slate. I don't really want to start Justin Herbert. He's a QB2 in that Mahomes-ish range. I would start the running backs, both Dobbins, that's who he plays for, right? And the Titans, I would start Calvin Ridley if Mason Rudolph is the quarterback. If he's not, then Ridley's more of a boom bust number 3. Ladd McConkey and Quentin Johnston are wide receivers 25 and 26 for me, high-end wide receiver 3s. They'd be a little bit lower if L'Jarius Sneed comes back. Will Dissly's my favorite tight end in the game, but I don't want to start a tight end in this game.
All right, we're going to take a break and read your questions after this on FFT Express. Welcome back, everybody. Let's see what the chat is chatting about. Mark Andrews or Mike Gesicki tonight?
Mike Gesicki.
Brian Thomas Jr., Calvin Ridley, or Romo Dunze?
I would go with Brian Thomas Jr., but we have quarterback questions on both of those. So if it was Mason Rudolph and CJ Beathard starting, then I would start Ridley.
Okay. Let's see. Chase Brown or Darnell Mooney, PPR?
I would start Darnell Mooney. I'm clicking this one now because of all the people you thought I didn't say, I actually didn't say Jamison Williams. And he is like very, very boom bust flex. I think I said that about Xavier Worthy. I have Jamison Williams and Xavier Worthy both projected for exactly the same number of fantasy points. And for neither player does their projection mean anything. Like, are they going to make one big play or not? Probably put them in your flex.
Wait, Jamison Williams or who?
Xavier Worthy.
Okay, ready? Magic 8 ball. Should I start Jamison Williams over Xavier Worthy? Chances are not good.
Okay.
All right, so we'll see if the 8 ball is right. Hopkins or Shakir?
I have Hopkins now. It would be Shakir if Cooper is ruled out.
Start Chase Brown tonight or hope Nico Collins comes back this week?
Really, really, really depends on what your other option would be. If it's anybody like Jaylen Warren or higher, if it's JMO or Xavier Worthy or higher, then I would wait it out for Nico Collins. If you're having like Adam to scrounge for Jeremy McNichols or Chris Rodriguez, then I'd probably just start Chase Brown.
Yeah, I also if Nico doesn't practice on Thursday, I might just play it safe with Chase Brown.
I think that makes sense.
Yeah, I don't know how he comes back if he doesn't practice. Well, he could, but all right, Darnold, Russ, or Burrow? Burrow.
Ooh, love Burrow and Darnold. It's Burrow.
Start one in PPR, Dowdle, Waddle, Harrison Jr., and then ETN or Javonte.
So I would go with Dowdle.
And I think it's a separate question.
I don't know why it would be.
Oh, no. Well,
they're missing the Oxford comma. Is that what you're saying here?
Yeah, I don't know why I thought that because he sort of said you should have probably listed all the running backs together.
I do like Javonte over Etienne.
Okay. Read that one. And sorry, McLaurin or Debo?
I would go Debo.
McBride or Gesicki?
McBride.
DJ Moore or DeAndre Hopkins? Standard scoring.
I'm going Hopkins.
TJ Hawkinson or Mark Andrews?
Andrews.
By the way, Caleb Williams was asked about why he's not connecting with DJ Moore, but they both were. So maybe that's not like squeaky wheel, but maybe they make it a point of emphasis.
I've got a feeling, and this could prove to be wrong, but I think we're about ready to see the second half Roma Dunze breakout.
I love that. That'd be great. And on the topic of Thursday night's game, I've got a feeling that tonight's going to be a good night. I am very excited about it.
Okay, so on the big show you called it a bonanza.
Yeah.
Now you're trying to do song lyrics. I feel like you're running it.
You remember what happened last year in this game?
No.
Joe Burrow got his season-ending injury, and did Mark Andrews break his leg or something like that? I think both of them may have gotten hurt in this Thursday night Ravens-Bengals game. I'm going to go confirm that off the air. All of you can confirm it too. For Heath, I'm Adam. Have a great day, everybody. Have a great night. We'll talk to you tomorrow on FFT Express.